Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY Richardson. What up, Fatima? Judah Royalty, Chakra King Black. What's happening? Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna talk about this, man. This situation. Keefe D's lawyer just did an interview 2 days ago, and I had took some time to actually digest what he was saying, and I don't know if this defense is going to work. I don't know if this defense is going to work based on the fact that when we talk about Keefe D, he's basically saying that you can't believe Keefe D, you can't trust Keefe D. This is what his lawyer's saying, and so I want to know first of all, what do you guys think before I go into it? Ancient Futuristic, DJ Clayton Bigsby, welcome to the room. So Keefe D's lawyer basically saying, hey, look, we're going to subpoena Sean P. Diddy Combs. I told you that's what they were going to go for. And the reason they're going to subpoena Sean P. Diddy Combs is not because they want to subpoena Sean P. Diddy Combs. It's because of the fact that the prosecution is going to use that initial tape of the confession that Keefe D gave to the LAPD and the U.S. attorney that got him the Proffer deal. So now Keefe D's lawyer basically is saying the strategy for them is now they're going to subpoena Suge Knight and Sean P. Diddy Combs. Now, there's one key part about what he said, and I don't know if you can say that it would give Keefe D the out. Average ancestors, Brooklyn, Brownsville, Brooklyn, John Serrano, Vince Pomo, Miss Brown Sugar, to you, Crystal Hope, Julius Jackson, Jim Dell. Welcome everybody. Like I said, so basically, like I said, from the perspective of Keefe D's lawyer now, he's basically saying, Keefe D's a liar. You can't trust him. You can't believe what he say. He gives the premise that Keefe D was basically confused as to not being able to make money off the case after seeing Greg Kading put out Murder Rap and write a book. And like I said, once again, Keefe D basically putting out his book, going on Vlad, going on the Art of Dialogue, doubling and tripling down on the statements that he had made in regards to him being involved with the murder of Tupac Shakur. Now, this is far-fetched. And the reason why I say this is because a lot of times, even if you look at the P. Diddy case now and what he's going through with the guy Blackburn, the attorney, it seems to me that Mr. Keefe D's lawyer, should I say, basically is I would say trying to get some publicity from the case, if you will, based on the fact that he would go out and he would actually do an interview. He would actually go out and do an interview speaking on his strategy and basically getting in front of the media, getting his name out there as a defense attorney and so on and so forth. I understand that Keefe D's lawyer has been sanctioned before and all of these other things, right? But there's one key thing that I think, that I would hope to think, because Suge Knight has never testified. He said that if he was called to testify or subpoenaed to testify, that he wouldn't. If Suge Knight, hypothetically, because I don't believe that he will, but I don't know, I can't predict that. If Suge Knight were to go into the courtroom and say he's seen who was in the car and it wasn't Keefe D, or it was only, he said, 2 people in the car. Now, you can use that statement, right? You can use that statement. But the key to this is Keefe D has already made the statement that when he rolled up to the car, that him and Suge locked eyes. And Suge seen him and he seen Suge. So the case would be, then who do you believe? Do you believe Suge Knight, hypothetically, if he would have come to testify and say, I didn't see Keefe D, but they're using Keefe D's statement and which says that when he rolled up on the BMW inside the Cadillac, that he basically said that him and Suge locked eyes. He basically said that he seen what he thought at that time or was a bullet that hit Suge, and he said that he thought that he was dead, right? So then who do you believe? So basically Keefe D's lawyer saying, yo, you can't believe Keefe D. You can't believe nothing he says. He's a liar, right? He was only, and basically what the other lawyers, the public defenders, were basically saying they can't get away from that story. They can't now maneuver around that. So basically, in having a conversation with Keefe D, I'm figuring that his lawyer came up and said, hey, look, you already said that you lied. You can't really get around that. His lawyer basically saying, let me go out and do a few interviews and try to, convince any kind of jury that would listen, mainly in Las Vegas, as that's what the case is, basically trying to taint the jury and saying, okay, well, I don't know. If you were to serve on that jury, basically saying, well, I don't know what it is that's going on. But listen, the only reason they're going to subpoena Sean P. Diddy Combs and they're going to subpoena Suge Knight is based on the fact that, number one, that what Keefe D will not be able to escape is he's saying that Keefe D thought he had protection under the Proffer agreement, which turns out that it was limited in its scope from that perspective. And so what Keefe D did was went and tripled and doubled down and quadrupled down on his statements. I was involved. He wrote the book. And it was in one interview in which Keefe D said, he basically said that, hey, I want y'all to go out there, buy my book, the title of the book. And then he said, because it's nothing but the truth, right? These are statements that Keefe D made not under duress, but while he was free and while he thought he could speak on it with immunity. The question then becomes, if you thought you had immunity, from what? From being involved in the Tupac murder, right? You got to think about this one. See, this is so I don't understand Keefe D's lawyer's defense on this. It's like, well, if he thought that he had immunity, and when he spoke out, if he thought he had immunity, what did he think he had immunity from? Being involved with the murder of Tupac Shakur, like he told Greg Kading and them in the beginning, right? And so if that's the case, then this defense that his lawyer is coming up with now will not work. Well, Jersey Rick, I understand what you're saying as far as him lying in that video, right? But the thing that I don't think most people are paying attention to is him saying that he lied involved that still involves him catching charges involving the drug charges that they initially gave him the deal for. So it's a no-win situation. Like I say, it's a catch-22 situation, if you will. So if they say he's saying, but the lawyer's saying, well, look, you going to jail for these drug charges are a lot more better of a break than you going to jail for the murder of Tupac Shakur. But like I said to you before, when you talk about either or, and when you think about what the lawyer is basically saying, I don't think the lawyer has a viable defense. Even if, like I said, hypothetically, even if Suge, they subpoenaed Suge, even if Suge came to court and Suge said, no, I didn't see Keefe D in the car, right? Keefe D already came to court. See, this is how you know that he talked too much in his interview. Keefe D already came on Vlad and all the dialogue basically saying, yeah, I seen Suge in the car. And when we pulled on alongside the BMW, we met eyes, right? Keefe D already said that when the ambulance was carrying Tupac in the ambulance and they hit the corner on Las Vegas, they were standing on the corner watching, laughing, and saying that shit was funny as a motherfucker. These are too many details, right? That someone is giving up. It's not like you're trying to place yourself somewhere and you just giving these little vague little descriptions of what's going on. So what happened after that? Keefe D was like, yeah, we went to the clubhouse, the coach house, one of those hotels or one of those spots over there in Vegas at the particular time. What'd you do with the gun? You know, he had all of the information involving what he did with the gun and all of these things. So it's a hell of a hill, or should I say, amount of evidence in Keefe D's own words to overcome with just by you know, I was lying, because he lied about a whole hell of a lot if that's the case from that perspective, right? But then on top of that, he gets on the stand and they pull up that one interview where he's saying, I want y'all to buy the book. You know what I mean? You know, and it's nothing but the truth, you know? And one could say, you know, hey, when he was benefiting and he could benefit, and when he thought he had immunity, he was out there talking. But now he's been incarcerated and charged with the murder of Tupac Shakur and being involved with the murder of Tupac Shakur by his own admission, right? Now he wants a do-over. He doesn't want to be held accountable like he should have been a long time ago. Think about it. You confess to a crime that you didn't commit, that they weren't even investigating, right? Well, if that was the case, he could have simply made up a story about Biggie's murder too. Think about it for a minute, because they were initially investigating the Biggie's murder, right? When he came up with the evidence involving the Tupac situation. So when you understand that, he didn't make up a story about the Biggie murder. He came up with the information in regards to Tupac. So that's where you run into this thing where somebody's saying something and they're actually trying to convey something. But then once again, he puts out the book. Greg Kading put out the book and the documentary, and then we, as the public, hear the statement for the first time, you know, about what happened, about the Tupac murder, and so on and so forth. So my deal is, why would Keefe D even say anything about anything when he was given the deal under the information that he provided to the U.S. Attorney and Greg Kading and the LAPD at that particular time? That was a legal and binding contract deal, which the Proffer agreement stood under. Basically said that if any time that they find out that you have not been honest with them, they can then come back and charge you not only with the murder of Tupac Shakur and the information that you gave up, but they can also charge you with the initial drug charges that gave you the Proffer agreement and the agreement in which you negotiated this deal under. I don't know who was Keefe D's attorney at that particular time, but he need to be trying to get another lawyer to reach out to him, because evidently he didn't understand what his deal was with the U.S. Attorney's Office and with the LAPD in the bureau at that particular time. So they're gonna subpoena Sean P. Diddy Combs. I told y'all, yo, look, this is what's gonna happen when they use that initial statement. It's gonna be so powerful, man. This trial right here is gonna be somewhat, I would say, somewhat similar, if not even more popular than the O.J. Simpson trial, based on the fact that it's involving Tupac Shakur. When they play that initial statement, because they've never really played the statement, the whole thing in its entirety, they played snippets of it, right? They're basically saying they're going to use that whole statement that he gave Greg Kading and the U.S. Attorney in its entirety, including the part where he implicates Sean P. Diddy Combs for basically, allegedly, should I say, hiring him to kill, shoot, or hurt Suge Knight and Tupac Shakur. Like I said, once again, they asked, you know, Art asked them, as well as, did you get in touch with, did you talk to Puffy after that? He was like, yeah, you know, he called and they was wondering, was that y'all? You know what I mean? All of these statements that he's going to have to overcome. You can't just say now that you're lying. These are statements made after the Proffer agreement. We haven't even gotten to the initial statement that they're going to use. And so now, like I said, I thought about it for a minute. I said, well, look, what if Suge Knight came to court and said, no, I only seen two people in the car, and you know, the two people that I thought I recognized wasn't Keefe D. I don't believe Suge gonna come to court. So don't be, you know, saying I said that he's gonna do anything from that perspective. This is what the lawyer's saying, that he's gonna subpoena Suge Knight and Sean P. Diddy Combs. Now, even if Suge came to court and said, yo, like he said on to TMZ, that it, you know, he two people he seen in the car. He didn't say whether it was Keefe D or not. But like I said, even if you said, it didn't, I don't recognize this guy right here. Do you recognize this man from the night in Las Vegas in the car, blah, 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 blah? Well, he said that you and him locked eyes and so on and so forth. Suge just said no, which I don't think will happen. Like I said, it still wouldn't help the case. There's too much evidence. There's too much information. There's too many statements under oath. And like I said, if they thought they were gonna, if Las Vegas, if the prosecutors in Las Vegas thought that they were gonna have a problem with that initial statement that Keefe D gave to the U.S. Attorney's Office and Greg Kading, they would have never brung in this case. Best believe they went over there and talked to them and they asked them, hey, look, this is what we're about to do. The case happened in our jurisdiction. And what we need to do right now is we need to put an end to this, all of this, braggadocious behavior and so on and so forth about the murder of Tupac Shakur. And like I said, along with the interview that I did with Tupac's father, Billy Garland, which he said he thought the government was involved, right? And when I asked him the question, I was like, so what do you think about Keefe D's statement? He said, once again, I'll say it again, he said that the fact that the government gave him a deal is problematic in itself. So when he was talking about the government being involved, that's what involvement he was talking about, in the government being involved, based on the fact that the government had gave Keefe D a deal in regards to him confessing and being involved with the murder of Tupac Shakur. Anybody in this chat would think that that would be problematic if their son or child was killed and the government decided to give the person who confessed to being involved with that in order to, I guess, for somebody to say that they solved the case or something like that, to say that they was involved with the murder, and then all of a sudden give them a proffer agreement. Not only for, the information he gave about Tupac, but also the information that he had gave allegedly about other people and during that investigation that Greg Kading them did. And so now Keefe D's lawyer is now riding with the statement that you can't trust Keefe D. You can't trust nothing that he says, right? And basically, he's putting up the narrative that Keefe D even lied to Greg Kading. So tell me what y'all think. Jason West, we don't do. Evidently, you haven't been up on it lately, brother. We don't really do, misinformation. I respect that, but we don't do misinformation. Keefe D was not given a deal with the Biggie case. Sorry to hear that, but I don't think he lied for the money and the notoriety, because see, once again, the young jerks, when you say he lied for the money and the notoriety, basically what you're saying is there was no, listen, prior to Greg Kading them putting out the murder rap DVD, no one knew that Keefe D, nobody even knew about Keefe D being involved with the murder of Tupac Shakur. At least people who, the laypersons who hadn't seen the murder rap DVD, right? So when he gave that statement to Greg Kading, that wasn't public information until Greg Kading put it out in murder rap. And at that particular time, that I couldn't imagine that Keefe D would want to be famous for that information that he put out. You understand what I'm saying? So from that perspective, and when one says that, yeah, that wouldn't be true at all. There was no fame to be had. There was no money to be had. There was nothing to be had but his freedom when he made the statement to Greg Kading in the U.S. Attorney's Office. So there was no money to be made at that particular time. So young jerks, that wouldn't be true at all. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. A lot of people, they're looking at the statements that he made afterwards while doing an interview on Art of Dialogue and all the other platforms that he did the interview on. But when he made the initial statement, there was no fame to be had. Nobody knew about the statement. Nobody knew that he had gave information in regards to what that was at that particular time until Greg Kading put it out on that DVD. And then everybody was like, whoa, you know what I mean? People still didn't know who he was. But then once again, then he came with the book because he felt like, okay, cool. Him being given an immunity deal. Now he feel like, well, look, they wrote a book. I could write a book now because I got immunity, right? But the key was at the end of the day, as the state of Las Vegas, the state of Nevada, I'm sorry, the state of Nevada could always then try Keefe D because it happened under their jurisdiction. And as we know, sometimes local and federal law enforcement work together in trying to solve cases. And by Keefe D kept going out making these statements. Yeah, I was involved. I gave the gun to my nephew. You know, we went down to Club 662 looking for Suge and them. We was in the white van, and then the dudes in the white van was busters or something like that, as he said. And then we jumped in the white Cadillac. All of these statements, this is very detailed information, all the way down to Tupac, looked like he was breakdancing in the front seat trying to get out of the way. People asking Keefe D about did Suge Knight try to use Tupac as a shield? It was a lot of rumors and things going around about this. So now Keefe D lawyer said, yo, look, we looking at subpoenaing Sean P. Diddy Combs. We gonna subpoena Suge Knight, right? Which I don't think I think both of them will fight the subpoena. You know what I mean? Sean P. Diddy Combs, he'll fight the subpoena. Suge will fight the subpoena as well. Because you can't make a person come to court, from that perspective. Suge already in jail, so they can't put him in jail, from that perspective for not wanting to come and testify. But I feel like Keefe D's lawyer is kind of grasping at straws at this particular point, because I don't see it being that thing where, the jury's going to say, well, you know what? Maybe he did lie for the money. Well, we want to know how much money did you actually make, right? So now it goes into, well, how much money did he make? Did he make $1 million? No. Did he make $100,000? Who knows? You understand what I'm saying? So now, and if they looking at receipts, let's say, for instance, I'm gonna give you this game, man. I'm gonna give you some straight game. Y'all ready for the straight game? Look, check this out. Say, for instance, they subpoena Vlad's records. They subpoena. They want to know how much the Art of Dialogue paid Keefe D. They want to know how much what was he on Camp Capone? They want to know if whatever other channels he was paid for, and they want to know the amount of money that he got paid. Now you weigh the amount of money, since everybody likes to jump on the, he did it for the money and the fame aspect of things. Now you jump on the totality of money that was made in regards to the story that they say he was lying about. Let's say, hypothetically, it totals up to $75,000, right? Now they're weighing whether, was it worth $75,000? Or was it worth $100,000, or whatever the amount could be? I just use that as an example, right? Is it worth that for him to tell those stories? And if the jury said, well, we don't think so. We think that he was initially telling the truth until he got caught, or until he was charged with the murder. Because, like I said, once again, you don't confess to something that you weren't given a deal for. So he was given a deal for the murder of Tupac Shakur, right? I'm given a deal. I can speak now. I can tell the truth about what actually happened. Okay, let me write a book. Okay, let me do these interviews. Okay, let me promote the book. And the craziest part about this is, I remember that watching the interview that he had did with Vlad, right? Watching the interview, and where I believe Keefe D had a lawyer present with him during that interview. Because when he would say certain things, Keefe D would look back to the attorney, and whether the attorney was telling him he could answer the question or not answer the question. The fact of the matter that he had an attorney with him, and the attorney even let him do the interview, was mind-boggling to me. Well, like I said, Fatima, it really doesn't matter. Like I say, from that perspective, if he chose whatever trial he chose, right? It's based on the evidence. Once again, when you deal with the fact of the matter, I don't know if so. It's confirmed that he doesn't have a jury trial yet, because I'm not up on that part, right? I don't know if that's the case. Like I said, if he's taking the judge trial, that's even worse. That's even worse, because, like I said, with a jury trial, you stand a better chance than you do with a judge trial. but it all depends. Yeah, that's what I was saying about the attorney, Rico L. You know, he's. I mean, like I said, a lot of attorneys use cases, man, to promote their business, promote that they're doing defense attorney work to get their name out there, free publicity, and so on and so forth, right? But when we talk about this case in particular, this is a high-profile murder case, right? A high-profile murder case. It's not going to be seen in the same light, once again, when you're dealing with the judge from that perspective. Absolutely, the judge wants to see all of the evidence, you know, and it's not like with a jury trial where you can tell the jury, you know, don't pay attention to this, don't pay attention to that. The judge basically is going to see everything. The judge already probably at home looking at YouTube videos of Keefe D talking and doing this. And it's like, and how sincere he was in doing the interview and trying to convince everybody that he was telling the truth, that his book was the truth, and all of these other statements that he was making was the truth, now only to be arrested for the truth that he said that he was telling, and then all of a sudden say, nope, you know what? I was lying. None of that's true. You know what I mean? It's like the vice versa. It's like telling a lie, right? And then telling somebody, no, that was the truth, though. That was actually the truth. Like, what? You know how the statement, they say there's a lot of truth told in the joke. You understand what I'm saying? Or a lie, if you will, from that perspective. So, yeah, man. So what you guys think about that? The judge is showing. Well, it's not her job to show empathy. Her job is to go on the facts. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, for so far, you know, she's been fair and you know, for what they've been to court for at this particular point. But like I said, we haven't even gotten to the discovery stage where they start exchanging information about what they know and what they understand in the case. Once they get to that stage, then you could really see like, okay, you know what? We don't really stand a chance. The government offering 20 years, man, you know, I think you should go ahead and take this and whatever, you know, but that's up to Keefe D. You know what I mean? That's not for us than anybody to say that. Well, all of that, Miss Matthews was speculation at best, right? You know, and it wasn't that nobody's saying that, my only question is how did Compton PD go from initial intel Keefe D was the shooter, then changed to Orlando? Compton PD said that on Vlad first, the intel was Keefe D was the shooter, right? Well, once again, intel from who? See, you got to question where the information's coming from. Intel from who? Who knew that? And so evidently what that would tell you is that they really didn't know nothing. Because if that was the case, then they had a case back then from that perspective, right? No, right. It wasn't worth the fame, you know? And so once again, when we deal with that and we understand what that is, yeah, that's the thing. But like I said, in subpoenaing Sean P. Diddy Combs, in what capacity? In what capacity can they subpoena Sean P. Diddy Combs? And if he did hypothetically show up in court and took the fifth, what could they get him to say? Try to prove that he was a liar, that Keefe D was a liar, and that Greenblatt's interview never happened, you know, that he never told Keefe D none of those things. Like I said, in the initial, before they began that interview involving Keefe D, what Keefe D said was, and I quote, "If y'all don't bullshit me, I won't bullshit y'all." Right? I want to say it one more time. You in the courtroom, the trial begins, and the prosecution comes up with that initial statement that he gave Greg Kading and the U.S. Attorney's Office. And the first thing that Keefe D said, if you go look at the murder rap DVD, the first thing that came out of his mouth is, we want you to tell the truth. He said, "Hey man, if y'all don't bullshit me, I won't bullshit y'all." So basically, with that initial statement, if they believe that to be what that is, then case closed. Natural immunity. There's no patsy. What are you talking about? Here you go with that patsy stuff. What are you talking about, man? This ain't no J. Edgar Hoover, a government conspiracy case, man. This is not that. This is somebody saying that they did something. They were involved with the murder of Tupac Shakur. So how in the hell can he be a patsy? A patsy doesn't confess, man. A patsy doesn't confess to a murder. A patsy is somebody that they're using as a scapegoat for something else, who somebody in being a patsy does not say anything in regards to any admission to and being involved with the case. So a natural immunity, you need to check your definitions, man. Go look up the word patsy, man. Please. Like I said, once again, a lot of people right. Yeah, nobody does that. Well, like I said, once again, now you what? Come on, natural immunity. We're not gonna do that today. Yeah, but like I said, more importantly, Keefe D's lawyer basically saying that don't believe Keefe D, don't trust him, don't believe nothing that he says. And now, after all of the statements, and like I said, you can go over, when he was promoting the book, buy the book because it's nothing but the truth in there, right? Now he got caught. Now he's saying, you know what? I lied about everything. I just think it's unfair. Now, what I think is unfair is the fact that Keefe D's lawyer, the person that represented him in getting that proffer agreement, did not explain to him the scope of the proffer agreement, right? And so therefore, yeah, and him kept talking about it, that's the part that I think is crazy, especially being represented by an attorney. It's not Greg Kading's audio, Jason West. He made a deal with the U.S. Attorney's Office. You see what I'm saying? I think a lot of people, once again, people have it. Y'all looking at Greg Kading was just in on the interview, right? Greg Kading was in on the interview in the situation being involved. That's why I think Keefe D was so mad, because he didn't know Greg Kading. He said he didn't know that it was being recorded. Whether he did or not, we don't know that. But the interview is not Greg Kading's interview, right? The interview and the deal was done with the United States Attorney's Office, right? So if the deal was done with the United States Attorney's Office, then it's not Greg Kading's interview. It's the U.S. Attorney. Remember, Keefe D was going on these channels basically stating as much. He said, I got a deal with the U.S. Attorney's Office. I got to deal with the U.S. Attorney's Office. So once again, people keep yelling out these statements and they don't really know what they're talking about. That's been the whole problem with this situation. People like, well, Greg Kading is this. No. Keefe D did not have a deal with Greg Kading. Keefe D had to deal with the U.S. Attorney's Office. Y'all might want to look that one up for the people that don't understand who the U.S. Attorney's Office is and the power that they have, right? Okay, so now what's going to be used in court is the deal and the statement that he had with the U.S. Attorney's Office. And best believe, like I just told you, if there were any kind of credence to, or should I say, if there was any kind of doubt or anything that the prosecutors in Las Vegas had in regards to going ahead with the case, that's why they didn't charge him just with a prosecutorial indictment, and they went with the grand jury aspect of it, right? Because they didn't want to seem like they were biased and trying to shut the case down or trying to just get the case, charged and so on and so forth. They went in, they showed him them interviews. I'm sure they probably let him listen to, if they probably got their hands on that initial statement that he had made to the U.S. Attorney's Office, they let them hear that, right? And they presented a solid case to the grand jury in order to come back with the indictment on side of the witnesses that they had, right? Because, I mean, essentially, you really didn't need anybody to go and testify in regards to what it was or what it wasn't from that perspective. All you needed was those statements. because the statements were the statements that he was given to deal with from, okay, cool, you're not going to be charged with this because you told us this, and you got to swear that this is true. Okay, cool, right? And then there's other guidelines and things, or things that he can and can't say and can and can't do. Evidently, Keefe D didn't stick by those, and that's why he's charged right now. So, yeah, like I said, once again, when people choose to, and this is the thing, like I told you before, you know, when we, like you said, in dealing with the Reggie situation, when Reggie went to testify in front of the grand jury, as I showed you guys in the last couple of videos that I did, right? Reggie Wright Jr. was trying to now use Michael Moore's and Frank Alexander's statements to back up the fact that he had went to the hospital once Suge had called him out. You got to understand this. It's all coming together now. And it's like, well, before he didn't never say that Michael Moore went to the hospital. He never admitted Michael Moore was even around at the time they were getting into the car, like Michael Moore said. That's when he heard the got him and stuff. You know, somebody asked me the other day about the got him statement. She's like, but DELRAY, you know, who do you think that said got him? I couldn't even tell you that. I wouldn't even want to speculate that. Like I said, that was Michael Moore's experience, and Michael Moore had spoke intelligently and clearly on that, right? And what he heard, and that was that. You know, like I said, you know, people can take it and run with it, and you know, the saying that they heard whoever they heard with it, and so on and so forth. And like I said, I will speak on this once again for the people who, if you can go, it's a couple of people that did some very intelligent videos in regards to the Snoop situation when they saying, when Warren G went on Drink Champs, Warren G did not say that Snoop was getting a play-by-play of what was going on behind the scenes before everything happened. Warren G was basically saying that Snoop was getting the information that Tupac had got shot, right? And he had one of those chirping Nextel phones or whatever. It was not illegal for Snoop to have that kind of phone. Once again, he was Snoop Dogg. So if it was the newest device out, boom, you know, he got one too. And it didn't have to come through Death Row. He could have got his own phone. You understand what I'm saying? So a lot of people, once again, you know, and I see, you know, the confusion that goes along with like what people do on YouTube, right? And they basically take information from somewhere that they heard it, then they try to regurgitate, you know, chew it up a little bit, then try to regurgitate that information back out into the public as if they're saying something that nobody else has said before. But when you understand and you go and you dealing with the actual facts of the matter, it doesn't have a leg to stand on. No, Yaki didn't say he saw the shooter. He said he saw the driver. You know what I mean? That's in the actual statement. You know, the police statement that he gave the police, in which Reggie Wright took Yaki down to the police station against his mother's own will. You know what I mean? At that particular time. That's why his mother was so mad about that. You know what I mean? You know, they didn't believe her being a former Black Panther. They didn't believe in cooperating with the police at that particular time and dealing with that. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that, Puerto Rican. Yeah, I would agree that, you know, Suge making some of the statements that he's made in regards to the Snoop situation and so on and so forth. Yeah, I think those are irresponsible statements. And, you know, especially if there's no concrete evidence, because if he's not going to speak on, you know, anything else, then speaking on Suge and saying Suge, I mean, speaking on Snoop and saying Snoop, I think are irresponsible statements. Yeah. Ebony Eyes, Iconic 83, Kevin Bean. No, that's nobody took Yaki out. That wasn't, from what I understand, that wasn't what that was. But like I said, I'm not gonna speak on that. I mean, I've spoken to his mother, and I don't, you know, like I said, I don't wish to rehash that. Everybody has their beliefs. Once again, you know, people thinking that people took Frank out, people took Michael Moore out, you know what I mean? And I guess that adds to the folklore of this whole situation. You know, but more importantly, right now, what we're discussing is the fact that Keefe D's lawyer said they gonna subpoena Suge Knight and Sean P. Diddy Combs. Those statements right there alone says to me that Keefe D's lawyer doesn't really have a good case. If you relying on Suge Knight's testimony or what Suge Knight would or wouldn't say, you don't really have a good case, because it should be able to, especially if the only evidence, what they're saying, the only evidence is the statements that Keefe D made in regards to the situation. If Keefe D's statements were the only evidence, then okay. But from that perspective, I really can't see that that they have a good they got a good case, man. It's not looking good. It ain't looking good. And I think Keefe D's lawyer is he's from what I understand, I don't know, but I think he's taking the case pro bono to basically get himself some publicity, to get himself some more clients, some people who may be fighting in certain similar cases and things like that, and getting in trouble and saying, hey, you know what? You know, it's like a billboard for business, if you will. You know what I mean? No, yeah. Well, what he pulling out his ass, Miss Matthews? Yeah, that's what I was saying, Carla Shepard. If you depending on Diddy or Suge, anything. Well, no, what I think the Diddy situation, what the Diddy situation would be, but like I said, I don't think he would even, you know, consider even going into the court in that situation. The Diddy situation would be, and they would ask him, you know, did you know my client? Did you talk to my client? Did my client use you as security? You know what I mean? Did you use my client as security? I'm sorry. And all of the things that Keefe D basically testified to. Listen to me, whatever Keefe D testified to in that initial statement is going to be on the table, right? And so the only way that Keefe D can get out of that is if they did subpoena Sean P. Diddy Combs and he said, nah. And he said, no, everything that Keefe D said, he said no to. Did you meet him at Greenblatt's? No. Did you tell him to try to do something to Suge and Tupac? No. Were y'all at the celebrity basketball game earlier in the evening before the Peterson Automotive Museum? No. Did you see my client at the Peterson Automotive Museum the night that Biggie was killed? And Sean P. Diddy Combs said no to each and every one of those statements. It's a possibility, right? And then Suge would come in and basically said, you know, answer the question. When you and Tupac were in the car and the white Cadillac pulled up, did you see my client in the other car? And if Suge said no, right? That makes it a strong possibility that Keefe D possibly could walk, if you will. Only if Sean P. Diddy Combs and Suge Knight came in the courtroom and said that. But I don't think that's going to happen at all. Right? So when you talk about what that means and what it is, it's a really, really slippery slope for Keefe D at this particular point. And the fact that his lawyer just came out and did this press conference, if you will, or this interview with a Las Vegas news station just the other day, I think that he's trying to garner some kind of publicity campaign, or trying to get out in front of the story and basically saying, hey, you know what? I'm representing Keefe D, but I don't even believe him. I think that he's a liar, you know? And so we're left with that at this particular point. So, well, Suge wouldn't even have to rat. It's not even a position of being a rat, right? Like I said, you know, going to court and then being able to say, you know what? You know, I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. You know what I mean? And that's basically what I think Suge probably would do, and then march up on out of there. You know, if even if it's so much as to get out of the jail and take a ride to Vegas and, you know, whatever, and get a little bit of taste of freedom on the subpoena move, if you will, and then get to the court and be like, you know what? I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. Yeah, absolutely. I believe that too. Puerto Rican. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, with the situation with the phone with Snoop situation is, like I said, he was being relayed information after the situation happened. It was not, like I said, I'll tell you like this, man. People listen to what they want to listen to. If you listen to the initial interview with Warren G said, you understand what Warren G was saying. If you want to think that something nefarious because you don't like Snoop and you don't really, okay, then you can take what Suge was saying. You know what I mean? So from that perspective, it's just as simple as that. Like I said, once again, that's speculation. Anybody saying anything with somebody else, you think somebody else knew something, right? It's speculation. You don't know what they know. I don't know what they know. I didn't know what they knew, and or whatever have you. That's basically speculation. So when you deal with that and you understand that, you're only going to search for the true information, the facts, and the truth behind the matter. Once again, you got Keefe D going on and making the deal with the United States, the government. Y'all got to understand that, man. Y'all got to you got to take it from the factual basis of what actually happened. Keefe D was being investigated for drugs. They found that. They went into him and they asked him about the Biggie murder because, they knew that he was at the Peterson Automotive Museum. He was there that night. He confessed to all of that and all of these things. And basically, he didn't come up with a story. Like he's saying he came up with these lies about the Tupac situation. They was asking him about the Biggie situation first, right? He didn't come up with a story for the Biggie situation when he could have. They was asking him initially about the Biggie murder, right? Because they knew he confessed to being at the Peterson that night, and so on and so forth. So now he does not decide to come up with the story for the Biggie situation. He said, no, I can't help y'all with that, but the Tupac situation, I can help you with, right? Keefe D voluntarily gave up all the information in regards to himself being complicit in the murder of Tupac Shakur. Nobody else can be blamed but Keefe D. People say free Keefe D. If Keefe D wanted to be free, Keefe D would have kept his mouth shut. Like I said, he got the deal of a lifetime. Right? Okay, no, I don't want to keep my mouth shut because Greg Cady and them writing books and they doing movies and they making money off of this situation. And guess what? I have Keefe D basically thinking, and guess what? I have immunity from this situation. So now I can talk about this situation. Okay. He talked about the situation over and over and over again, double down, taking money for interviews and all of this. But meantime and in between time, what Keefe D is not aware of is that the United States Attorney's Office and the Las Vegas prosecution are talking and saying, "Hey, look, let's see that proffer agreement you got with him. Let's see, what this is." And Keefe D goes on to tout, say they can't touch me, they can't do nothing with me because I have a deal with who? The U.S. Attorney's Office. Here comes Vegas. They don't come with a prosecutorial indictment. They go to the grand jury and show the grand jury all of this information. And that's the reason why Keefe D sitting in Clark County Metropolitan Detention Center right now, awaiting the trial on Tupac Shakur's murder. His statements were voluntary, Jason West, based on the information that he could offer. That's the only way that happens. Right? So I don't know what you, yeah, we're not getting to the semantics of the wordplay as for what it was. Basically, from what I understand, you can call it a queen for a day. You got that statement from Greg Kading. What I'm saying is, whether it was queen for a day, king for a day, or joker for a day, it really wouldn't matter to me at this particular point, because once again, once you were given that deal or whatever it was called, right? Everything after that, you're supposed to walk off into the sunset and keep your mouth shut. But I do understand why Keefe D spoke up. Keefe D spoke up because he didn't know that he was going to be a part of that Greg Kading, that murder rap. He didn't know that audio that he did, and it seems like Keefe D was okay with everything, right? Until Greg Kading them put that out in that movie Murder Rap. Like I said, I don't know. My thing is, when you think about the situation with Reggie, I'm not ready to say anything in regards to that other than what I said. And like I said, if it was not for Reggie Wright Jr. Being negligent, he was complicit in the death of Tupac Shakur by not doing his job, by disobeying Suge Knight's direct order to send 5 more security guards. Also basically lying at least 4 times in regards to what had happened. He lied about the Gotham statement. He lied about Michael Moore. He said that Michael Moore was inside the club when the statement was made, but just recently tried to use the video of Michael Moore saying that they drove to the hospital when he never, in any other interview other than the one the other day, said that Michael Moore was anywhere near the car when they drove to the hospital. He had always said that it was the lawyer from Las Vegas. So from that perspective, he lied about that. And then when Michael Moore said that he heard somebody over the radio saying, don't say nothing over the radio, Reggie totally disregarded that statement altogether, which was made shortly after the Gotham statement, right? And then we find out the other day, well, when Suge Knight, when he said that where did he when it was asked by the young lady in the other podcast where Reggie got the information about what happened to Tupac, how was he able to relay it back to his father back in California so soon as to what happened? And Reggie lied and said that he had got that information from Suge. If you've seen the video I did, I actually put in the actual audio of him saying that. And Suge Knight came on Breakbeat Media and said basically asking Reggie, why would you say that? That Suge had told him that Orlando and them somehow was involved with that situation. Suge basically saying that he didn't say that to Reggie at that particular time. Don't know if it came out later, but at that particular time when Suge said he was in the hospital, he said that Reggie did not tell that to Reggie, and that was a lie. Right? Look, I had told you guys in the beginning, when Reggie had sued me, we see the type of nefarious and fraudulent activity that he will try to go about doing and trying to muddy the waters, if you will. His whole thing is muddying the waters, trying to muddy the waters. But the truth has been revealed and has been coming out now that Suge has been able to speak. As you see, there was a video done the other day, and I didn't want to waste my time, but I just pay attention to the titles, right? Basically now, listen to me. If you can go over there, Bomb First, check it out. This is funny. I was laughing. I was like, wow. Here it is. Reggie Wright Jr. basically claiming that Suge Knight put him in charge of death row while he was in jail, right? Okay, here's the guy who's allegedly putting you in charge of death row. Reggie Wright actually did a video and said that over at Bomb First that said that he ran death row more than Suge Knight did, or better than Suge Knight did. Did y'all see that video over there, Bomb First, the other day? Hey, look, man. And so, like I said, for all of the people that have been listening, right? So what he's basically saying is, so Reggie basically saying that he got the call from Harry O when they was over at Babyface in the old studio, Dick Griffey and where Dick Griffey and them had the recording studio. So he said, because so when making a statement like that about how I ran death row better than Suge did. This is what Reggie's saying now. First he was just I ran it, I did it. Come on, man. And they've been sucking up this information for so long. Like, yo, he actually said that. So basically, Reggie's saying now that he took the phone call from jail from Harry, right? He was talking to David Kenner and dealing with David Kenner and going into the jail and seeing Harry trying to hatch up the plan how to get it financed and all of that. Reggie saying that he was doing that because he ran death row better than Suge did, right? Right. He went over and got involved with Eazy-E to clear Dr. Dre of his contract. Reggie saying he was there for all of that, and it's a lie. This when you make a statement that I ran he's basically saying Reggie Wright Jr. saying he ran death row better than Suge did, or longer than Suge did, and that's simply not true. And we've seen, and I showed you guys numerous times in the interview, and actually with the affidavit, it's an affidavit where Suge's doing a interview for an investigation with an attorney, and Suge was asked the question. So, who did you leave in charge when you went to prison in charge of death row? And Suge Knight clearly said it was Michelle A. Right? So now that Suge has been speaking, Reggie's back has been up against the wall. Just like I told you in reverting back to the Keefe D situation with the grand jury. Reggie was not even there. He wasn't even there to do the job that he was hired to do when Tupac was shot and Suge was shot at that night. And I'm telling you, if he did his job adequately and like he was supposed to do, there's no way on God's green earth that Tupac would have been allowed to run after anybody, Orlando wanting to fight anybody from that situation. Security is your first line of defense, right? From that perspective. It's just as simple as that. That was like, and I can give you a prime example of what I'm talking about, because once again, Reggie had been fired. We know that. Go to New York, MTV Video Music Awards. Go back and look online and see those pictures with Michael Moore right next to Tupac, and he got the headphone thing in his ear, and it's a couple of other security officers around. Now, let me be clear about this, because Reggie Wright Jr. is one of the people who would then say, my security was on him. My security was on him. Right? Oh, absolutely. But it wasn't based on the fact that Reggie had put security on him. It was based on the fact that the security whom Tupac had fired on August 27, 1996 as his personal security. Personal. That means when I go out on my personal time, sometimes they would moonlight, like I said, as Tupac security. Tupac said, no, I don't want that no more. The number one reason was the fact that Tupac tried to get his masters. Remember, Tupac tried to go to the studio to get his masters, right? It was Reggie Wright Jr. security, right, that prevented Tupac from getting his masters, among other things. So in firing David Kenner, this is why the letter happened in firing them both, right? So in firing David Kenner, which was basically a conflict of interest, and most people who know what that is about know, in firing David Kenner, right, Tupac then also fired Reggie Wright Jr. and his security firm as his personal security. Tupac couldn't fire him as the security of death row, right? That wasn't in his power. But what Tupac could do was fire Reggie Wright Jr.'s security company, Right Way Security, as his personal security. So you go to New York, right? A few days later, after August 27th, you go to New York, and so the security is on Tupac. Why was the security so tight on Tupac? Remember, they ran into Nas, did nothing happen. This is confirmed. Remember, I told y'all, I was at the House of Blues on August 11th, right? Me, Melly Mel, Scorpio, Melly Mel from Grandmaster Flash, Scorpio from Grandmaster Flash, my man Carlito, we all went in the House of Blues together. Me, Tupac, a couple of the Outlaws, Melly Mel, Scorpio, and Carlito. Tupac had no security with him. Are you listening to me? This is actually confirmed because I was there and I was there to see it. I'm telling you right now. You understand what I'm saying? So even on the 11th of August, 1996, Tupac didn't have no security with him when he went to the House of Blues. If I'm lying, I'm crying. You can go ask Melly Mel. Scorpio did an interview over on Art of Dialogue. You can go check that out. And he talked about that and he confirmed that, right? So now, go to New York. There's security on him. Why? because Suge demanded that there be security. Like I said, once again, they were in New York. Once again, the beef in the situation was happening at that particular time, and they needed security to be high, right? Tupac wasn't allowed to run up on nobody, right? Tupac wasn't allowed to do anything crazy, right? That's the way it was supposed to be in Las Vegas also that night. But Reggie Wright Jr. took the opportunity to pull the security off of Tupac, to tell the security don't carry guns. These are not my words, man. These are the words of Frank Alexander and Michael Moore, two guys who worked for Reggie Wright Jr.'s security office. And he had been denying it for years, right? All of a sudden, 4 videos ago on Bomb First, Reggie Wright then now tries to use Michael Moore's statement as well as Frank Alexander's statement to offer up credibility for him as to going to the hospital because Suge Knight called him out and called him a liar and said that Reggie didn't come to his emergency room to talk to him about anything. You get it? So when people ask me about the Reggie Wright situation, that's how, not prepared, like I said, being negligent enough, not providing the security, pulling the security off of Tupac. Like I said, he's complicit in the murder of Tupac Shakur. Ain't no way you can duck that. That's facts. Suge said, yo, I asked him to send more security for Pac. He ain't send nobody. That's facts. That didn't just come from Suge. That also came from Frank Alexander and Michael Moore. Proof in the pudding. Go on YouTube and look at the video of Tupac walking through the MGM Grand Hotel. The only person that is with Tupac is Frank Alexander. You got to ask yourself, here is the biggest hip hop star in the world. How in the hell he only got one security guard with him in the MGM Grand on fight night? For anybody who's been in the Las Vegas on fight night and know what that's like. Right? So I'm not prepared to, like I said, sometimes you can be so ignorant and be so vindictive as to not pay attention to the obvious, right? But there was a lot of jealousy in regards to Tupac Shakur on Reggie Wright's part and on other people's part, like I said, but particularly from Reggie Wright Jr.'s perspective, because he had motive to pull security off of Tupac. And the motive that check that he was getting from Tupac and being his security company being hired as Tupac's personal security after hours was now gone. Also, once again, his security had been fired, and Tupac was pissed off that he wasn't allowed to go into Can-Am Studios to retrieve his masters. You feel me? Like I said, once again, so when you offer an olive branch, right? And people mad at Snoop, they like, well, Snoop was supposed to be this, that, and the other. You don't have to take on somebody else's beef because they take on the beef with somebody from that perspective. That's toxic. You know what I mean? Because you got a problem with somebody and y'all got disenchantment going on. That don't mean I got to adopt your disenchantment because y'all got problems. What if y'all make up and y'all cool now? Now he won't be mad, or whoever, she won't be mad at me because I adopted the problem that you had with that person, and then all of a sudden they make up and they cool now. I see it all the time. Y'all see it all the time. Y'all see people who were supposed to be beefing or supposed to be at odds, then y'all see them back together again, everything cool. But see, now you didn't involve yourself with something that didn't really involve you, trying to claim sides and play favors and do all of this other thing. That's not mature. Yeah, so you got to be careful. Like I say, a lot of times, and it's politics, right? And it's a saying that goes, politicians choose strange bedfellows. Did you hear that? I said politicians choose strange bedfellows, right? So one minute they might be at odds with the person, but then over here we can get some money, man. Look, let's put this aside. We can get this money. Because it wasn't really that serious. The ultimate goal is to get to the bag, right? For a lot of people. And then you got to deal with the fact that sometimes it's about integrity. You understand? And when you're dealing with integrity and dealing with situations involving that, you're not going to fall into that. Yeah, but like I said, not only that, but just the stories that Reggie had been telling. But now, like I said, once you delve into this Keefe D thing, we understand that when Reggie went to testify to the grand jury, that he had been lying all of those years, and it came out in the grand jury. I'm like, wow. He said that the Nextel radio didn't have a two-way walkie-talkie feature. He said that on bomb first, but then went into the front of the grand jury and said that it did. How you know? So, like I said, once again, man, when we talk about this situation involving Keefe D, this is going to be very interesting to see whether, you know, so how the subpoenas go down when you're dealing with Sean P. Diddy Combs. If the subpoenas, you know, when they send out subpoenas and stuff like that, you know, trying to subpoena Suge, will he even show up in court? Will he use that as a, you know, get out of jail for a minute card? Go to the court, basically say, you know, I plead the fifth. You know what I mean? I plead the fifth, I plead the fifth, I plead the fifth, I plead the fifth, and then enjoy the ride. You know, maybe the guards will stop and get him some McDonald's or something or whatever he want to eat on his way back to prison again. You know, from that perspective. Sometimes people do that. You know what I mean? They'll answer the subpoena as long as the, you know, the person who's being charged, they pay for everything and them coming to court and so on and so forth. But like I said, once again, Keefe D's lawyers basically saying you can't believe nothing Keefe D saying. Yeah. OG Patrice, how you doing? Greetings and salutations. Was that you, Patrice, that did that video? Yeah. He's all over the place with it, man. You heard Suge went on that other channel with the guy. I forgot the other podcast, the guy who was talking about finances and money a lot. And he went over on that podcast, and he was basically, Suge was basically saying security, you know, security don't know nothing about the inner workings and what went on over at Death Row. But like I said, before Suge Knight started talking, Reggie Wright had every story. He was telling Suge Knight stories if he was Suge Knight, if you will, you know? And so, yeah. Okay, right. Shout out to you, OG Patrice. Yeah, but like I said, so when Reggie went on there and did the interview, he was basically saying that Suge had told him in the emergency room who did it. That's how he was able to call back to California and tell his father. That didn't happen. Suge said he lied. And Reggie did not come back with any kind of substantive answer or substantive proof as to that happening or not happening. It was all a lie. No, Reggie's a failed drug dealer, man. He's a failed money launderer. He's a failed police officer. He failed at everything that he was doing, and he also failed Tupac and Suge Knight in Las Vegas. There's no wins there. There's no wins there. I don't see any winning. And the fact that he would double and triple down with these lies and then have to be corrected by the person who actually put him in position to talk about some of the stuff that he was talking about, right? But actually came to find out that he was lying about, right? It says it all right there. Like I said, once again, look, man, to not be there to protect Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight or have security adequately in place, right? But then when it came time for Keefe D to be indicted on his own statements, for Reggie Wright to go and show up in front of the grand jury and answer any kind of questions as if he knew what he was talking about in regards to that, it's totally irresponsible. At that particular point, you just kind of like, you know, hold it down from that perspective, and you don't say nothing else because you weren't there. You failed your client, you failed your boss, and you also failed yourself. You know, and so with that being said, and being able to believe somebody, right? Well, at the particular time, Suge thought that, you know, Suge even said, he helped Reggie start Right Way Protective Services as a favor to Reggie's father, from what Suge Knight had said, right? You know, you grew up with people, you try to help them out, you know what I mean? you know, and like I said, I won't try to Monday morning quarterback that situation, but that's just what that was. But when it comes time to doing the job, there's been too many excuses, right? You know, Reggie even made the statement that, hey, you know what? I trusted the homies from the neighborhood that was with Suge that night Tupac got shot more than he trusted his own security guards. That's a hell of a statement, man. That's a hell of a statement. We not gonna put the responsibility on the homies like that. We're gonna put the responsibility on the people who were paid to do the job that they were paid to do. See, that's another one of them scapegoats, man. Don't fall for that. Don't fall for that. Oh man, you know, the little shiny object over here. No, no, no. You're dealing with intelligent people who can now see through the lies that have been told, thanks to Suge Knight coming out and stating some of the things that he's been stating. Like I said, do I think Suge Knight telling the truth on everything? No, I just don't. You know what I mean? Because some things I know for myself, right? But like there's certain things I understand the method to the madness, right? But then there's certain things that he won't say. There's so many things that I understand that haven't been spoken on, right? That, you know, and I don't think Suge probably would ever speak on him because that's just not who he is from what I gained from his character. But, you know, when you think about the bigger picture of what it is and what it isn't, yeah. But like I say, more importantly, they saying Keefe D's lawyers saying, yo, we're going to subpoena Sean PD Combs and we're going to subpoena Suge Knight to testify into the trial. And like I said, the only thing I could see them testifying to is I didn't see Keefe in the car from Suge's Knight perspective. And the only thing I can see Sean P. Diddy Combs them wanting to use him for is to debunk any of the statement that Keefe D gave to the United States attorney in the deal that he was given involving the murder of Tupac Shakur. Like I said, it's going to be a real tough case to fight from that perspective. It's going to be very interesting. And I'm interested to see what kind of lawyering goes on involved in this situation. Now, I'm not worried about nobody trying to do nothing to me, brother. I don't even put, you can't even put that energy out in the air. You understand what I'm saying? Like I said, so when we deal with that aspect from that perspective, nah. You know what I mean? I don't even like to speak that type of thing into the air. You understand what I'm saying? I stand firmly as a man on who I am. And yeah, that's what time it is. So other than that, like I said, it's not about, see, and that's another thing. You can't be moved by that. You can't be moved by that. Oh man, you know, because then the liar wins. You can't come and attack me and try to embarrass me and, you know, call me names and like I say, call other people names. And then when you can't win the what's the name, you try some nefarious shit. No, right? You know, you got to stand up as a man and be who you are at all times. See, that's the problem now. Everybody's switching sides. You know, whatever's favorable this week, that's what they're going with. You know what I mean? But real men stand firm, right or wrong. And when they're wrong, they can admit it and apologize and keep moving. You understand what I'm saying? That's what real men. But I do understand that in the day and time that we're living in, right? You know, that's really a novel concept, if you will. That's a novel concept. But let me tell you, as I stand before you, when I call my channel Straight Game, if I don't know it, I ain't going to speak on it, right? Like I said, but we're going about information that we know that has been presented to the public. So now it's open for dialogue, right? It's open for dialogue. That's what we have. And we're having a constructive dialogue here. So yeah, we can't worry about that. Absolutely. And it's a lot of people that's been falling for anything. That's why the story has been so convoluted, if you will, right? But when you peel back the onion, you begin to smell what it is. And sometimes the shit make you cry if you get close enough to the onion. You understand what I'm saying? If that's what you operating under, right? And sometimes when you peel back the onion and it's strong enough, sometimes it wake you up to the truth. You see? So like I said, once again, all of the things you got to understand that Reggie tried to sue me. I didn't do nothing wrong. That didn't still try to stop him, right? Once again, you got to understand. You got to understand that, right? He filed a frivolous lawsuit against me and then dropped it. Why didn't he talk about that on Vlad? They should have talked about that on Vlad. Like, why did you sue DELRAY Richardson? Reggie? He can't talk about that. Why? Because it's unbecoming of a man. You can't give a good explanation. There's no explanation that you could give because it was frivolous. It was false. And as like I told you, the stuff that he'd been talking about with Suge, involving Tupac with these girls, involving Tupac and all of these other stories that he really wasn't present for, that he heard from other people, right? They were all lies coming from him because it wasn't firsthand information. Just like the lies that he put in the lawsuit when he sued me. You get it? So it's lie after lie after lie after lie after lie. And that's just what he does. But like I said, Keefe D's lawyer, subpoenaing Suge Knight, Sean Puffy Combs, saying us now, you should not believe what Keefe D is saying. Not taken into everything that he said. It's going to be interesting. And before you know it, the trial is going to start. You know, I'm still, you know, people that have been predicting that Sean P. Diddy Combs going to be arrested and they haven't seen any kind of information or evidence or anything that you know, the Homeland Security people gathered as of yet, right? We still waiting on that. Like I said, I don't want to make no predictions. Like Pac said, I don't want nobody to go to jail for something that they didn't do because I know I don't want to go to jail for something that I didn't do, you know, at the end of the day, right? But everybody's not like that. Some people want you to go to jail because they don't like you because you're successful. Some people want you, you know, they just don't like you because they don't like themselves, actually. You know, so if they're not happy with themselves, they don't want to be happy with anybody or anything that they're doing. That's life. That's life. But like I said, once again, at the end of the day, I appreciate each and everybody for coming through. And hold on, say DELRAY got Mr. Garland to speak to the public, which has never been done before. Public, absolutely iconic. 83. You know, let me shed some light on that. You know why Tupac's father spoke with me? You know why Tupac's father spoke with me? Because he could trust me. And everything that he asked me to do, I did it. See, real men, you don't have to. And we talked for a whole year before we got on the interview and talk. You see what I mean? See, because men trust men and they understand when you stand on something. And you got to know that Mr. Garland's he's a former Black Panther. He don't trust easy. He don't know you're coming into, you know, you're coming into the situation, you're a government agent, you know, he don't know none of that. He operate under a certain kind of a code of ethics as a man, right? You know, based on the stuff that they went through back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So once again, like I said, at the end of the day, when we're talking about men doing real men things and standing for what they stand for, you can have all the money in the world. But if you ain't got no integrity, man, it don't mean nothing, man. Money's made and spent every day. So like I said, but you as a man and who you hang around and the people you choose to associate with, right, speaks volume as to who you are. And you can't fake that. That's something that has to be lived. That's something that has to be shown and proven, you know, when you meet the individual. Like I said, and I have nothing but respect for Mr. Garland. I call him Mr. Garland. You know what I mean? Nothing but respect as a man. You know, we did the interview, and before the interview got out any kind of way, once again, when somebody fears that they might be named, like Reggie Wright, he came out and he started speaking ill of Mr. Garland before he even heard anything about the interview. Revealing, huh? Once again, because when real men talk, right, the frauds become alarmed. Like, is he gonna say something about me? Is he? No, you're not that important. But yet try to impute yourself in every situation or every conversation, right? And trying to make yourself look important. The Suge stories, the Tupac stories, the Jamie Foxx stories, the P. Diddy stories, you know, and worrying about another man's sexuality and how that is somehow, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I let people be who they are. That's what you doing, man. That's what you doing. That's your business. Got nothing to do with me. Like I said, once again, but we're gonna see about this Keefe D trial. We're gonna see about this Suge Knight and Sean P. Combs being subpoenaed. I don't think it's gonna end up with anything positive or anything substantive from that matter, and them getting to the bottom of anything like that. But like I said, right now, what do you guys think involving the fact that they're saying, okay, Keefe D's lawyers now is coming out saying publicly, Keefe D's a liar. We can't believe nothing he said. What do y'all think about that? Absolutely. Yeah, won't it, man? The truth will always shine bright. Yeah, like I said, at the end of the day, you standing on facts, you standing on your word, you standing on your manhood, you standing on integrity and character. Those are things you can't buy. It doesn't matter. Yeah, you can have if you ain't got your health and your family and people that love and care about you, man, you can have all the money in the world. It wouldn't matter. Suge's not gonna tell the truth about nothing. Suge's not gonna talk about nothing like that. Like I said, once again, number one, he in prison. Number two, like I said, I don't see him. I think silence is golden in this situation for him. But I disagree partially to what that means from that perspective. But he's already basically said that what he saw from that perspective. You know what I mean? So, you know, absolutely iconic 83, not a problem, man. Just speaking the facts, man. It ain't even like, and like I say, it may seem that way that I'm, keeping Pac in this positive light. Tupac, let me be clear, because I don't speak for Tupac's legacy or nothing like that. Look, Tupac's legacy stands for what it stands for. Tupac did enough talking, Pac did enough talking and enough interviews to let you know where he stood. There's nobody on this internet that speaks for Tupac, that speaks for Tupac's legacy. That's why his legacy is so solid, right? I hear what you're saying, Icon, but I'm just saying, let me just want to just give this out. Tupac's legacy has been solid from day one. From Baltimore to Oakland to New York to West LA. Right? It's just that simple. Right? So if anybody really, and then the music. So, like I said, who's Keefe the scapegoat for a Reddish? Well, no, all in all, I don't think that no, listen to me. It's not about, see, once again, when somebody, Suge feels like, from what I've been listening to, and I don't know, like I said, everybody has their interpretation. Suge feels like, Reggie's been out here telling these stories in regards to death row. When the person that can only really tell those stories are the people who were intimately involved with death row and its inner workings. And that would be Suge Knight, number one. That probably would be Snoop Dogg, number two. That'd be Dr. Dre, number three. And that'd be Tupac, number four. As far as the inner workings, the business, and everything else from that perspective. So, yeah, 18 Wheels of Steel was happening. Kenneth Malone was happening. Jersey Girl was happening. Well, once again, I think that when they did the investigation, the initial investigation, I'm sure they went on a lot of these videos and things, and they watched these videos, if you will, and they understanding the nuances involving the Tupac situation. When you look at the and the police officers themselves, when you look at the video and you see Frank Alexander's the only person on Tupac at the MGM Grand, they probably, well, what the hell? Where's security? This is the biggest rap star in the world at this particular time, right? Then you get into the nuances of, what happened. You hear Suge doing an interview, I believe with Phil Carson, and talking about how he asked Reggie to send 5 more security guards and he sent nobody. All of those things are paramount to this situation when you deal with it. So at the end of the day, you know, that's what you're up against. So I don't think anybody needs any explaining. People got to live with the decisions that they made back during that time, if you will, right? But like I said, what I find ironic now is that the lies have been exposed, if you will, in regards to Suge Knight now coming and speaking out. So you don't have to wonder what it is, you know, when Frank Alexander and Michael Moore become demons, may they rest in peace, become demons in Reggie Wright's eyes based on the fact because they told simply the truth of what happened, right? And then all of a sudden, when it comes time to try to advantageously use the interviews that Michael Moore did and Frank Alexander did to prove a point to the public, you see the hypocrisy right there. You see the lies being exposed right there. It's like, oh my God, like one minute they the scum of the earth. And then the next minute, you know what? My former employees will back me up on this, even though they're dead. Even though I called them hellified names and a whole bunch of other stuff. You understand what I'm saying? So now I'm saying to you, you know, you can believe what you want. And you can thanks DJ King Assassin. What's happening, man? Yeah. So when you talk about that, when you understand what that is and what that means, then you get the big picture. You get why everything happened the way that it happened. Like I tell you, and I tell you again, Reggie Wright Jr. was complicit in the death of Tupac Shakur by the way of insubordination, disobeying a direct order from Suge Knight, pulling the security off of Tupac, saying that the security could not carry weapons that night, lying about the fact that the Gotham statement that it happened in the nightclub, you know, when he knew well, in fact, that it happened as they were getting into the car on the way to University Medical Center in Las Vegas. Reggie Wright knew all of this. He knew everything, but he lied about it, which makes people think that, you know, somehow, some way he was some kind of orchestrator of the situation. But sometimes it doesn't take that much inside knowledge. All it takes is for one person to be on the team, not doing what the team requires for that person to do for something to go wrong. And in that way, one person on the team can be complicit indirectly with the death of Tupac Shakur, as I've said before. With not even facilitating, like I said, once again, not doing your job. Not doing your job. It's no different than, you know, somebody's supposed to do a job and they don't do the job right or they do the job wrong. There's still negligence there. You understand what I'm saying? There's negligence there, you know, and that's why a lot of attorneys, you know, you might find, let's say, for instance, you know, with the Boeing situation in Boeing, the airline, right? Remember the door came off the plane, off Alaska Airline plane, right? Boeing had to pay Alaska Airlines in an amount of $130 million for the times that those planes were grounded, right? The Justice Department sent out a memo to everybody that was on that plane, basically saying that they may have been involved with a something criminal may have happened against them being on the plane, and that Boeing, right, was criminally negligent and not doing what they were supposed to do because there was bolts missing from those doors, and that's how they actually came off. That's what I'm trying to explain to you in regards to the Reggie Wright Jr. situation involving Tupac Shakur. Those bolts that were supposed to be securely placed on that door were not placed on the door. Those bolts that were supposed to be securely placed around Tupac that night were not placed on around Tupac that night, even though the person who was in charge and ran the company told the people who put those bolts in Reggie Wright Jr. supposed to be around Tupac, did not do that. You get it? If I can break it down for the people that don't know. Absolutely, TOTC. Yeah, you understand this? So that's the reason why Reggie Wright Jr. was negligent in the death of Tupac Shakur, period. And still has not offered an apology in regards to that. Like I told you, he tried to push out the date the letter was sent fired. He tried to say it was happened in June until we seen the letter that it happened on August 27, 1996. Reggie Wright Jr. tried to say that the letter that was sent out to him firing him by Tupac Shakur happened in June before the letter came out and we seen the actual date of the actual facts. And you know as well as I know back then, you know, the recording of a fax, right, was just as good, if not better, than a computer stamp of an email being sent to someone today. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Speaker box vibes. Yeah, his even lawyers say, but the lawyer's basically trying to use that as a defense. You know what I mean? I get it. He has to roll with, lawyers roll with whatever they can roll with trying to win the case. You know what I mean? And like I said, but the lawyer's also looking for publicity. He's trying to gain a few more clients, if you will, too. So him getting on the news. Tell me this. What lawyer, and I want you to understand something. What lawyer do you know involving a high profile murder case, right, that would get on TV and say that their client is a liar? Come on, man. I'm waiting for some answers on that one. No, he said for being right. No, I'm saying, but what lawyer? I know I wouldn't want to be paying a lawyer to do that. I'm sorry. Absolutely, Iconic 83, not to be trusted. Right, Jersey Rick. I don't know. Like I said, I'm gonna ask the question again. Would you pay a lawyer in any case, even though you might have been known as a liar or whatever it was, to go on television to do an interview to say that you're a liar? I don't know how that benefits Keefe D in any kind of way, but that may be some strategy that they have, you know what I mean? That's unbeknownst to us at this particular time. I definitely will. I don't know if that's the feed of Fatima, but hopefully you can hear me. Can you hear me clearly though? That's all I want you to hear me clearly. Even if it's cracking a little bit, you know what I mean? Because we get it cracking over here. Yeah. You know what I mean? You know. Right. Thank you. I appreciate that, Fatima. Hey, yeah, it's strategy, but like I say, will that strategy end up working in court? You understand what I'm saying? And sometimes strategies are best left to not to be discussed in the public and dealt with in the courtroom. Because you best believe that, Las Vegas, their prosecution office is sitting back listening to that. And when you speak on that, they're basically coming with counter arguments as to what Keefe D's lawyer is saying that their argument is going to be. As I would be prepared to that's the story and strategy that they're going with. So now I go delve into the interviews. I delve into the initial statement that Keefe D dealing with the U.S. Attorney's Office. I delve into all of the other real concrete evidence that I would have that says that no, on 10 times he said this, but now all of a sudden he's saying this. You know what I mean? So that's what like I said, that's why I didn't understand the strategy when Keefe D's lawyer came out and he said that. I couldn't figure that one out. I'm like, well, why would he say that? Even if his client was a liar, even if his client was untrustworthy or unbelievable, I don't think that would be something that I would say in the public, other than trying to get, and people saying that he has a judge trial. Like, I didn't look into that part, saying that he has a judge trial. So if he has a judge trial, I could see how that could work, but then again, I could see how that could not work, because a judge is a lawyer and they understand different strategies. So the judge has to be unbiased in approaching what she's taken into her courtroom and considering as evidence and something being substantive, factual, or beyond a reasonable doubt at that particular point. You see what I'm saying? So yeah. He said he's not legit. You must have quit. They calling you funny. uh, right. That's what Agnes Hall. That's what I'm saying, Agnes. Look, I've never seen a lawyer call their client a liar either as a strategy. But guess what? When Keefe D had the public defenders before he got a private attorney, that's what the initial statement was, that they went after the prosecution filed their when Keefe D tried to get out on bail and he filed a bail motion. When they filed the objection to the bail motion, then basically he came back with the story of, I lied, I did it all for fame, I did it all for money. So now that was when he had the public defenders. So now you can't run from that statement now. You know what I mean? You got to stand on, what you initially said. That's basically it. And so that's where they're left at right now with the situation involving Keefe D. Nah, I wouldn't say he's a Gemini. He's a liar because I'm a Gemini. Tupac was a Gemini. Biggie was a Gemini. No, I wouldn't say he's a liar. Like I said, once again, he thought, listen to this. Look, check this out. I want you to understand this. I catch you doing something. Everybody doesn't operate under this premise that I'm about to give you, but some people do. Let's be clear. I catch you doing something, right? It's done every day. Let's not act like this is something strange. I catch you doing something. You get caught up. I have a conversation with you. Look, man, you know what I mean? You're going to do 25 years because you're a 3-time loser. And, I know you was over at the Peterson Automotive Museum the night, that Biggie got killed and so on and so forth. You know anything about that? No. But I do know about the Tupac situation. Oh, really? Oh, what? Oh, okay. So your lawyer conjures up some kind of deal with the U.S. Attorney's Office. Greg Kading is present, right? But I want immunity if I tell y'all everything. Okay, cool. But you got to be telling us the truth. The first thing that Keefe D said in that statement, he said, if y'all don't bullshit me, I won't bullshit y'all. Right? Boom. Everything else, there was no money on the table. There was no fame on the table. There was nothing else on the table right then and there but Keefe D dealing with his life and having to go back to prison. And like I said, of course, he could be lying. I'm not going to say that he is. But when it was time to swear under oath that he would be telling the truth and dealing with that proffer agreement and the paperwork that he signed, right? He swore to tell the truth. And if not, not only is the crime that he was initially going to be charged for, which was the drug crime, but also the crime that he's now confessing, if I'm not mistaken, to, he can also be charged with. Y'all understand that? There was no money, no fame at the time he made that initial statement to the U.S. Attorney's Office, man. That only came after he wrote the book, after he felt like he had immunity. So that's why he began talking like he began talking. That's why he began doing the interviews that he began, because he thought he had immunity. I got to deal with the U.S. Attorney's Office, homie. I got to deal with the U.S. Attorney's Office. Can't nobody do nothing to me. These were the statements that he was making. Well, we see that the statement that he made and the deal that he thought that he had, he didn't have. And we're now at this point right here. And we still don't understand what they have for discovery and going back over all of the information, over the tapes on that night. I'm telling you, dude, this is going to be stuff that come out. And if this case goes to trial, it's going to be video we never seen before. And it's going to be interesting. It's going to be made for TV. This is going to be one of those made for TV moments involving the murder of Tupac Shakur. You can count on it. Because I never thought that it would be, it would be solved from that perspective and dealing with what we're dealing with today. So, like I said, we're going to see. Will Suge Knight show up? Will Sean P. Diddy Combs show up or fight the subpoena? And will the strategy that Keefe D's lawyer is trying to implement right now? Will it be something that could help Keefe D possibly escape the situation that he's in, or will it be to his detriment? Like I said, the only person that could be blamed for this is Keefe D, man. Like I said, it's unfortunate, man. A lot of people lost their life, man, for what, like I said, as we see now, what could be talked about. And the example that I was trying to give you, involving like 1 minute people might be at odds, and then the next minute they might be cool, or might, not see each other from that perspective, is the situation between Keefe D and Suge Knight. From what I understand, they had seen each other after the situation involving Tupac Shakur, and they were cordial with each other. Now, ask me how that could be. I don't know. I don't get in between with two men, how they negotiate and feel about, you know what I mean? But that's one of the situations. So, like I said, it is what it is, man. Like I say, y'all take care of yourself. Your boy DELRAY. Thank everybody for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Yeah. Straight game.